Bonnie here with a mat Pilates class for you today. I'm filming this on March 1st, and in the Pilates community every March there is kind of a mission or challenge that goes on called March Madness. And what it is a celebration of Joseph Pilates' original 34 mat exercises that he outlined in his book, Return to Life. It's really the only few exercises that are fully documented. So I like to just always share this with the Pilates students. I'll be doing this in my live class at the gym, which happens on Tuesdays at 10:30. And then I'll do 4 installments of this. So each week I'm gonna do anywhere from kind of 8 to 10 exercises depending on how they come together. So we're gonna start today with the first 8. I will be breaking them down. So we'll start from a simple version. So if you're brand new to this work, this is a great series to follow. There's gonna be some exercises that are gonna be more advanced that you might just watch, sit those out. They all kind of build on each other. And then there'll be some that you can start with the basic work and then we'll just progress through. So that's kind of the plan here. So we're gonna get started with the Return to Life mat series. And we'll begin with the 100. So for this exercise, we're gonna start laying down on our backs. And this exercise is built of kind of 3 parts. We have the role of the upper body, the abdominals. We have obviously the core, our breath work, and then the legs. So we're gonna build in this progression. We're gonna start with the arms floating up and come into an ab curl. So as the arms press down, the head, neck, and shoulders curl up and we look toward our legs. So this reach is really, really important. And then we lower back down. Breathing out. So you wanna feel the belly draw down, navel to spine, shoulder blades just off the mat. And lower down. So it's really important that you establish a strong, solid ab curl. Now, if you have limitations that prevent you from, let's say, lifting the upper body, or it becomes really hard on the neck, you can do a few, because with time, like any other muscle in the body, the neck muscles will strengthen. Or you can always just practice the breath in the arms. Arms are very active in reaching. And they float out. I'm still drawing navel to spine, widening the collarbones, reaching through those arms. Let's take 2 more, wherever we're at. So our goal today too is gonna be to keep moving, kind of regardless of what variation we're in. We're gonna hold the next one and practice our breathing. The breath goes laterally or sideways, so you breathe into the sides of your ribs. And then exhale, funnel the ribs down toward the pelvis, reach a little bit further. Breathe in through the nose, and exhale. One more time, inhale here, and exhale. And then lower on down. Now I'm gonna bring my legs to tabletop. So this is knees over hips. If you hug the knees in tighter, it will support your low back more. Knees come away a little bit, you're gonna feel a little more work needed in those low belly muscles. And same exercise, so I'm gonna curl up here. You don't want the lift of the legs to compromise the lift of the trunk. So if you feel like you can't get up quite as high, maybe hug your knees in more or leave them on the floor. And then we're gonna lay back down. Curling up, hold here. And the second component to our 100 can be a pulsing or pumping of the arms. It's a very strong, kind of vigorous pump. So not just a kind of floppy arm, but strong reaches. And we add this to our breath. So we breathe in and out. And in and out. Breathe one more time and out. Hold. And draw it in to rest. Our third component is the legs. So we already had them up working. You can also extend them. They can extend up,
So let's try that. Inhale, exhale, reach. You have to sink the abdominals more, put more energy through the arms, curl head, neck, and shoulders up, and bring it back down. You can start to take the legs out, but again, don't compromise the lift of the torso. If you have any pain, discomfort in the back, you've taken the legs maybe more than you're ready for, right? So find one that you can hold. And we breathe here with the arms. Breathe in and out. And in and out. One more time. Out. Now lay it on down. Like I said, these are getting harder as we go. So we're going to try one final variation with the legs straight. If you weren't able to straighten the legs on the previous exercise, you're still going to want to keep them bent now. The idea here is to curl the upper and lower bodies up at the same time. Legs hover, shoulder blades hover, and then you lower at the same time. So I realize I'm getting cut off here, so we'll lift again. So inhale. Exhale, legs squeeze together, navel to spine, long line here. And we breathe. Inhale and exhale. 2. One more time. Exhale, 3, 4. Hold and lower down. And you should be feeling warm through your center. As I said, you're not going to progress in this work in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year even, if you don't really get a good grasp on the fundamentals. So there is our 100, and we're going to take this into the next exercise, which is called a roll-up. Take the arms back over the head. As we do so, keep the ribs funneled down. So a roll-up is your ab curl that then takes you all the way up to a full sit. So we're going to start this one from the top, because you may have found that getting up, just what we just did, was a lot of work. So we're going to try it from here. Take the hands behind the legs and sit with the knees bent. We want to stack our spine up nice and tall and start rolling down from the low back or the pelvis. So we tuck the abdominals and we start to just hang back, letting our arms go long here, and then we sit up tall at the top. So inhale, exhale, tuck the pelvis. And if you feel like you can go a little further but still want that assist, just let the arms kind of slide down the legs and then draw navel into spine. And continue. The first part of a roll-up is the articulation of the spine. So we have to get the pelvis to kind of slide under. Now this may require you to squeeze your glutes a little bit and kind of get them to slide, because we don't want to fall. It's a roll. And then same thing, you pull the navel to spine, try to keep the legs anchored, sitting tall. Feel free to use the arms for as long as it takes to get there. You can also try arms up, but as I said in the 100, you don't want to lose the integrity of the movement. So if the arms come up and all of a sudden your feet are coming off the floor, you don't want that. Maybe you can't go as far down, and that's okay. You take your sip of air and you roll yourself up. So we're going to try going all the way down, which I know you can all get there because gravity is going to take us there anyway, right? So we're going to inhale, exhale to roll. Now I have my knees bent. I find it helpful to allow my legs to straighten, kind of keeps me able to roll with my heels staying hopefully somewhat down. And then the arms come back over the head, the ribs come down. But now as I come up, and it's just my personal story with this, as I get to here, I really am stuck because I can't roll through my pelvis, because I don't feel a big connection to my low back. So it's helpful for me to bend my knees here so that I can hold on, or just digging the heels in helps me to roll through that. So this one, I encourage you to play with whatever works. And I promise you that every time or day you do this, it's going to be a different story, right? But name of the game here is spinal articulation. Take away the momentum if you can, right? And just kind of see what you're able to do with control. And let's try one more. Inhale and exhale. And hopefully with a few, that mobility becomes a little greater. To the bottom. And there is your roll up. Moving into roll over. Now this one is an inversion, so if you do have any issues in the neck, or you need to avoid loaded flexion of your spine, this is one you'll want to like fast forward or just watch through. This one is a little more advanced. Roll over involves lifting our tail and taking the legs over the head. So we're gonna start with a small progression here. There's a lot of work of the arms. So the arms press into the mat. I'm gonna start with my ankles crossed and the knees open. And I'm focusing on using my breath here. So as I exhale, I'm gonna draw the knees into my chest. Press with the arms and just curl the knees in as tight as I can. Maybe that tail lifts just a little tiny bit here. And then release. Inhale, exhale, knees in. And you just want to find that place where you're really drawing in. Having the knees open will allow for maybe a deeper hug into the torso. And I'm using my hands to not only push down, but kind of push away on the mat and release. And do this again. So step one. Step two, now uncross my legs and work on more of a pelvic lift. So we start with the knees kind of over the hips. We tuck in, and this time when you get to that place you can't tuck anymore, you lift the hips. And you'll know right away whether that is an option for you. I encourage you to keep the arms down. So if you had to do that by pushing yourself up, you'll want to stick with the previous exercise for now. And then we're going to roll down, keeping the head heavy. Knees drop in toward the chest, one bone at a time to the bottom. Let's take that again. Inhale, exhale, knees in, pelvis up, roll and pause. Anchor the back of the head, widen the chest, and roll down. And we progress with a straighter leg. So if you're able to hold the legs up, once again, you'll know kind of right away if that's available to you. We start from here. Inhale, legs go away. Exhale, we roll over. Now in this shape, we try to keep our legs parallel to the floor and not let them just drop down. So there's a lift through our center. The legs separate about the width of the shoulders and then flex the feet and roll down. Again, head stays heavy, arms stay active. Roll one bone at a time through the spine. And once the pelvis comes down, the legs come together. Try one more, whatever variation you found that works for you. Inhale, exhale. Legs separate, flexed feet. Inhale, exhale down. And release. Hug the knees in, and that is your rollover. Leg circle is up next. I'm going to take my left foot to the mat and extend my right leg up toward the ceiling. So just like we did before, go as straight as you can here, but try to have the femur kind of coming right out straight from the hip, vertical line to the ceiling. And then the bottom leg, you want to have it as straight as you can get it, and that means without your back coming into an arched position. So maintain neutral as you extend that bottom leg out. So that one's active down into the mat. This one's active up toward the ceiling. And we're gonna take a small circle first. So that leg that's up, I'm gonna trace a circle on the ceiling above me. I'm gonna go out to the side, hip bones stay anchored. I bring it down, so it's kind of at a 45 angle away from me. I pull it across, keeping the back of this hip on the mat, my right hip, and then I pull it up toward me. And that's kind of the hardest part, but one of the most important. Take the leg open. Inhale down, exhale, pull up. Now if you're getting a ton of fight from the quad and the hip, soften that knee and focus on stirring the hip in the socket, taking that femur bone and just rolling it around in the hip socket. And this is totally fine. Let's go the other way. I'm gonna start bent, go across, around and up, and across, around and up. So just nice and easy to get that kind of little release at the hip going. And then I'm going to straighten my leg, stay bent if you'd like, and take it across, down, around and up, and across. Hip stays somewhat anchored, take it around, pull the navel to spine. And are you keeping that opposite leg active and still? And my arms are pressing into the mat. One more time here, inhale, exhale around. And then I hold, lower that leg with control all the way to the mat. Switching legs, hug the left knee in. And you kind of get set here, make sure the hips are level straight across and that bottom leg is active. Now I'm gonna reach that other leg up and just kind of see what up means, right? If it needs to be a little bent. And let's go with that first on this side. So I'm gonna go out toward the left, circle it down and up. There is a small and a big circle variation. We're sticking with small because we want to really, first of all, get a good handle on pelvic stability and what that means. And check in just to see what kind of movement you have at that hip joint in terms of rotation. Let's go the other way, across, inhale, exhale. So notice you want to keep the rest of the body as quiet and still as possible. One more time. Now pause. Now take that leg up if you can. Already the work is increased. Navel pulls down the spine, arms press down. Open to the left. Inhale, exhale, up and around. And open. And up. Two more this way. And up. One more time. Pause. Can you reverse it? Take it across. Down and up. And across. So I'm just drawing on the ceiling. Everything else is so still, looks much easier than it is. And up, and then lower down. Created length at the hip. And next we're gonna hug both knees into our chest, grab behind the legs, and we're gonna go into breaking down rolling like a ball. From here, I just would like you to curl your head, neck, and shoulders up into your ab curl, and then allow the legs to pull on the arms until they go straight. And just see basically how long you can make your spine here from the tail to your head. And then we're just gonna hug the knees in to this shape and try to keep that nice and tight. So just let the legs pull and see if you can't start just this little rock and roll and getting used to that feeling of rocking across the sacrum without a ton of momentum. I'm kind of using my legs to pull, and I hold that rounded shape and then slowly roll it back, but the head stays lifted. Do this again, pull. And if you're not able to get up from here, don't worry, I'm gonna come meet you here in a second. And we do this again, curl, and then sit up tall. So part one of rolling like a ball is to get rolling through your back. The second piece is starting from the top. So I'm gonna take the legs, and you can hold behind your thighs or around the front, but you're trying to get yourself in to a tight ball position, knees into chest, okay? Shoulders are down, shoulder blades are wide. And from this shape, we are trying to tuck the pelvis, right? Knees draw into the chest, and you try to roll through your spine, keeping the head up, and find your balance at the top. You notice it's really easy, you know, I am too, to come apart, right? With legs away from the chest. So you're trying to stay as tight as you can and keep your eyes down and really not lose this shape as you do the exercise. So I start deep into my abdominals. Roll, inhale, exhale, and can you not let your feet touch the mat at the top? Here, we'll try it again. Tuck, hug the knees in, roll. Keep hugging the knees in at the top of the exercise. And if you come out of your shape or your feet hit the mat, no big deal. You have to start somewhere. This is an exercise on core control, right? Stability. A lot of work deep inside the core here. One more time, roll. And then release. Single leg stretch. Come down to the back. And this is one of the exercises that also shows up in what has become the abdominal series of 5. This is the first one. The right knee is hugged into the chest to start, and the left leg is out long. Now, the angle of the leg depends on what your back can handle, and also can you maintain that upper ab curl. Now, if you're starting out with this exercise, I really like using my hands to pull the knee in, because half the exercise is the stretch here, pulling in, and the other half is the long leg. Keep the torso lifted and still. As you switch legs, they pass through kind of an imaginary tunnel right in the middle of your mat, and then we switch. This is an exercise in stability, not only of the pelvis, but in the trunk. Inhale, exhale, they pass through. It's getting the legs to work in opposition of each other. Imagine a bullseye, target with a bullseye, and you're trying to hit that center bullseye with each foot. And switch. Let's do 4 more. Go 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Hug the knees into rest. So using the arms can help you get some of that tension out of the neck. The next variation, we're going to change the arms. Curl up, place your left hand on your right knee and your right hand at your right ankle, and extend the left. So I'm just placing the hands. I'm not grabbing anymore, which is a little harder to stay in that curl. You switch arms and legs, and then you switch. And you switch, and go. Can you still stretch the legs as much as you were without the assist of the arms? Let's go 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1, and bring it in and rest down. Double leg stretch is next, and this is the second exercise in the ab series as well. For this exercise, we're going to begin with our feet down. And it actually is set up the way the 100 first started. So let's all come up into an ab curl. Lift head, neck, and shoulders. Now this exercise is a 2-parter again. We have the upper body, the arms bent. They reach straight up over the head. And you stay lifted in your upper body. The arms circle around and they reach. So if my feet are down toward my ankles, upper body has not moved. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, press and reach more. One more time, inhale. Exhale around and lay it on down. Hard enough with just the upper body. The legs start hugging into the chest. So we saw this in our rolling like a ball. And you actually come into rolling like a ball in between every exercise. The legs reach out on an inhale, or up. Remember, up from the 100, a little easier. And then knees in. It's inhale, we reach, and exhale in. And keep that lift. Inhale, reach. And exhale in. And rest down. Both equally challenging. When we put it together, the arms and legs reach away from each other, meaning our core has to be ready. Let's try it. Hands at the knees. Head, neck, and shoulders curl up. Elbows wide. Inhale, arms up, legs long. Exhale, arms circle, knees in, 1. Inhale, and exhale, 2. Try 2 more. Inhale, and exhale. 1 more time, inhale, and exhale. And that is double leg stretch. Give yourself a roll up, however that feels today. And we're gonna move on to spine stretch forward. We're back in our seated position. So just like when we started roll up, it's so important that you always start an exercise with a long spine. So if having your legs straight out puts you in this slouch, bend the knees, right? Really be aware. This work was designed to really strengthen our backs, get our backs more mobile, have the ability to rotate, flex, and extend, and strengthen them. So every exercise is built around that strong foundation, strong posture, and this is no exception. So spine stretch forward. I'm gonna sit with a little bend in my knees and take the arms out to shoulder height. So they're kind of pressing down, navel into spine here. Spine stretch, we start at the top of our spine. We tuck the chin down. And from here, we're gonna feel our shoulder blades separate and try to round our back as much as we can. So I'm actually using my bent knee, my heels to kind of dig in. So it's like there's a big beach ball right here on my lap and I'm going over it. So it's a lifted exercise from the abdominals. And then I restack my spine. So I just want you to think for a moment about ab curl, the first exercise we did. That's what this is. We just sat it up. So I actually want to try this with the hands behind the head first. And lift up tall. Now tuck the chin down. Feel the elbows go out and round over. And you'll notice that you really maybe can't go as far, but it's not the arms that change the exercise. It's your center. And then keep the hands pressing into the head and rebuild your spine 1 vertebra at a time all the way up. 1 more, hands behind the head. Inhale, exhale, navel the spine. Draw those abs in as you roll yourself up. Very good. Arms come forward. Try this. Inhale. Exhale, navel the spine, reach. So instead of coming down with my arms, I want you to think about reaching forward so that the arm stays in line with the ear. And think about long. Pulling the navel back, but stretching the arms long. Now as you sit up tall, rebuild, restack, grow taller. 1 more time. Inhale, exhale. You want to keep the legs even. Reach forward. And then draw the navel into spine. Lift, 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 lift. And release those arms. All right. For fun, we're going to throw in the next exercise. And I might start with this one next time. But it goes along with the family of rolling like a ball. It is called open leg rocker. So we're going to start with is holding behind the legs and picking them up. Now, difference here, we're going to hold behind, but instead of the legs being tight into the body, they're actually up and open. So I'm going to have my shins parallel to the floor, shoulders down. And it's actually a little easier to kind of get started here because you're not worried about that really tight shape. You're worried more about elongation. So chest is up, eyes are up. You tuck from the pelvis first.
So I pull my navel in.
Roll, the head doesn't hit, and you scoop to roll up.
Not meant to be done that slow, because you want it to be a roll. So you tuck the pelvis, and lift, and tuck, and lift. You keep the eyes forward, the head doesn't hit. Option one, and you may find that easier than rolling like a ball. Or we go into a straighter leg. So we start by holding on to the ankles. This is where that shin lift is kind of imperative. And we're gonna start with just an extension. So you extend one leg and bend it down, and the other. And again, all these steps are very telling on whether you're kind of ready for the next thing, right? If you're like, no way I'm straightening that leg, then you're not gonna do that part, right? You're gonna stay with bent knees and do one more. Alrighty, so now what we can try is straightening both of our legs. And again, the chest is up, the eyes are up, but the pelvis is tucked. And I start from low into the pelvis to roll. And I come up and I try to find my balance. I tuck again, roll, to rise. Let's try one more wherever you're at. Tuck and roll. And rise. And then rest down. All right. So, you kind of get a taste of the first 8. As I said at the beginning, this was a sequence that Joe designed to be done in a certain order, kind of in a certain way. You'll see as you go, a lot of the exercises build on each other. As the years have gone by, we've come up with more and more ways to modify, make it doable for everybody. So it's one I definitely kind of rewatch, and as I'm going through the modifications, you can just do the full version of it, right? Get those repetitions in, do whatever version that works for you, kind of learn those modifications, ways to start, and then just kind of work your way through those first 8. I will see you next week with another series of the Return to Life exercises. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you next time.